15 part A. Write each of these ratios in its simplest form, 30 to 12. So I need to see which number, which times table, 30 and 12, are both in the same times table, or they're both in the 3 times table. So if I divide that by 3, I'll get 10 to 4. Okay, I can then, they're both even numbers, so I can divide by 2. Divide by 2 will give me 5 to 2. Now I know I can't simplify them any further because 5 is a prime number. So in its simplest form, it's the ratio 5 to 2. Now part 2, 75p to £2 in its simplest form. Now they're trying to trick us here because one is in pounds and one is in pence. So let's change them, both of them, 75p to 200p. Okay, now they can both be divided by 5 here. So, or I can do it another way. I can do it 2 ways. I can divide by 5, and divide by 5 here to give me 15 to 5s into 200 is 40. I can then divide by 5 again to give me 3, and 40 divided by 5 is 8. So that's the ratio 3 to 8. The other way I can simplify 75 to 200 is I can actually double it first to 150 to 400, and then I can come down to 15 to 40 by dividing both by 10, and then divide by 5 to give me 3 to 8. So part 3, 3.5 to 5. Well, 3.5 is not written as an integer, so I would need to double that. 3.5 to 5. 3.5 doubled is 7. 5 doubled is 10. Now that is written in its simplest form because 7 is a prime number, so 7 to 10. Right, part B. Andy, Karen and Phil share £1,600 in the ratio 253. So we've got Andy, Karen and Phil. Now together, so Andy, Karen and Phil. Andy, Karen and Phil. 2, 5, 3 is their ratio. So together, the total parts is equal to 2 plus 5 plus 3, which is 10 parts. So I need to split this £1,600 up into 10 parts. So we're going to take a diagram with 10 squares on it. So here we are, we've got a diagram. Now that's got 10 parts, and that whole thing is worth £1,600. So Andy, he gets 2 parts here. So that's Andy's. Then Karen gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. That's Karen's. Which leaves Phil with 3 parts here. Now, £1,600 divided by 10 is that every 1 square is worth 160. So Andy, he gets 160 times 2, which is 320. Karen, she gets 160 times 5, which is 800. She gets half of the money. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 is Karen's, that's half the money. And Phil gets 3 parts, 160. 160 multiplied by 3. 3, 16, 16, 32, 48. So £480 is what Phil gets. 480 plus 320 is 800, plus another 800 gives us 1,600. So there we have it. Andy gets £320, Karen gets £800, and Phil gets 480.